to be muted out. My name is Phyllis Nash. Um, I am your Chief Sales Officer. I am one of the four co-founders. We are coming up on 4 years, and guys, you just cannot believe. I cannot believe how far we've come, who we're doing it with, as in you guys, and where we're going. It's exciting. You hear me say that all the time. My life is always exciting, never a dull moment. And I attribute that to a lot years ago when I said, I just can't work a 9 to 5 because that means I probably do the same thing every day. And I love variety. And so when you're an entrepreneur, you really, really, really get that variety that I sought from day one when I knew I needed to do something to make a living and not a living, my dreams come true. And it was being able to do what I wanted to do on my terms, not always easy. And I'd say one thing in this industry, and in life, we got to always tell our stories because our stories can help impact somebody else's life. You know, when Melissa tells her story about wanting to stop work because of she wasn't spending enough time with Tariq, and he brought that to her attention, her son, her child. She did something about it, and her story changed forever. And when she tells that story, so many people can relate. And I have so many stories to share with you guys. I'm going to share one that you all know about right now. And that's the journey that I've been on with my sister starting. It was 3 weeks old, 3 weeks ago today. And when my nephew called me and told me everything that had happened to her in that accident, I was like, oh my God, am I going to have my sister? And then God always steps in. And I said, I believe all things are possible. And the way he brought it to me in such a calm way, I was like, she must be okay because he's real calm. And he even told me, I'll let you know what's going. And I'm like 7 minutes from the hospital. I'm like, hey, you know me better than that. I got to the hospital. And when I saw everything that she had endured, when they told me one after the other, 7 fractured ribs, a fractured sternum on both sides, a fractured pelvis, a punctured intestine that they had to do immediate surgery for, a broken ankle, on top of being a multiple myeloma patient since 2010. And what is multiple myeloma? It's a blood cancer that really affects the bones, guys. And to know that she was still there, fully conscious and talking, I just had to say, but God. It ain't nothing but God that has allowed her to come through this. And the journeys and the prayers that every one of you sent up, come over the world, prayers were going up for my sister. So if you say, hey, prayers don't change things, I beg to differ because I know it made a difference. The doctors were in amazement, everybody, and we stayed there. But you guys were my source because as much as I needed to be there for you, I needed to be connected. That was what helps me go through any process I go through. Work, believe it or not, but work. And so when it was time for her to go into rehab, I don't know if any of you have ever had that experience. If any of you had to find a place for your loved one. When I tell you that the reviews on 98% of the rehab centers and the nursing homes, because a lot of times that's where they are, that are available to our people through Medicare, it would blow your mind. And my nephew, not knowing, at least I have had people that have been in rehab or nursing homes and said, oh my God, it's hell. It is pure hell. Well, he was going to take the advice of the of the social worker. And he said, because they sent him the list, and he said, well, they recommend. I said, recommended who? Oh no, she's not going there. I said, have you looked at? He said, Phil, because this happens in most families, guys. People are all caught up in doing what they do. And this is his mom, and he loves his mom. But duty calls, life calls, a job that you're responsible for all these people that don't give you time. And if your mom or your loved one has had more than one or two issues during the year, you just can't say, I need time off to deal with my mom. It don't happen that way. But me, an entrepreneur, yeah, I got deadlines, but I know even with the deadlines, I'm not letting my sister just go anywhere. I said, give me that list. And I started going down the list, and I started finding, and I looked at the reviews on, like I said, 98% of the places. And I said, I would have nightmares. I would not ever be able to sleep at night if I thought my sister was going through those conditions, living there and trying to get rehab. And so I kept on looking. Social workers calling me saying, well, we need to make a decision. And this place has the availability. And I go on and I look at this place and I'm like, hell, are you crazy? Would you put your loved one there? And he tried intimidation. And I started thinking, wait a minute. Does he get an incentive or a kickback for saying this is the facility that's available? And you know me, I'm not going to take anybody's word for anything. So I started calling each and every one of these places. So I started talking. I started calling the top places with the best reviews. 98% bad, but I called that other 2% that wasn't bad. And the lady said, oh, yes, we have a space for her. And I called the social worker and I said, hey, she can go here. It's like 7 minutes from us in the Gold Coast of Chicago. And he said, that was the end of the day. And the next morning, I'm like, thanking God, we got this place. She's going to be okay. I'm telling my nephew. And the next day, the social worker said they don't have availability. And I'm like, well, they had availability yesterday, but they don't have availability now. But this place does. And then I say, well, I found another place. He said, well, miss, you need to give me those things right now so that I can call. I said, no, I don't need to do that. I need to take my time. I need to go through each one of these until I'm satisfied with where she's going to be. So a lot of us take intimidation. A lot of us go on and accept the status quo. Well, he said this, and this is what I have to do, but I'm not going to do that when it's my loved one. I'm going to go to fight. I'm going to go and find her the best that I can find. I'm going to stop and I'm going to pray. And I'm going to say, God, I know you got this. I know you got this. You're just taking me through this long journey, and I'm not going to give up. And so then I found another place. Now, there are no 5-star ratings, but this place was rated 4.7. And it was all the way in Wilmette. So for those of you in Chicago, you know what a hall that is. But I said, I'm going to have to make that hall because I know that she's going to get the help that can help her the rest of her life. And so I said, okay. But then I get back on the phone with my nephew and I said, you know what? God wants this to be as easy for everybody. And I'm not giving up. That place that was in the Gold Coast that had a 4.6 rating, I called them back. And I said, you know what? And every time I talk to somebody, I said, you know what? I know you're going to bless my day right now because I've been praying for you to have an opening for my sister. That's what I said when I called each and every place that I wanted her to be in. And the lady chuckled. I said, yesterday I called you and you said that you had room. Today, the social worker says that you don't have room. But then she said, well, there's some other criteria. And I said, well, what are the criteria? What do I have to meet? And she told me those criteria and I met them. And she said, well, you know what? I'm going to do all that I can to get your sister here. But that was the end of the day. That means another night. And I could have chose to have a sleepless night, or I could have chose to put it in God's hands and gone to sleep. And so I did. And I called my nephew the next morning. I said, let's call. He said, no, let's wait till noon. And guess what, guys? They called us. They said they had a space for my sister. They had a space from the one that was 7 minutes, 10 to 7 minutes away from where we lived that we could get to quickly. They had a 4.6 star rating, and that's just like a 5 in this industry. Trust me when I tell you that. And now my sister calls me and tells me, yes, I had the best night's sleep that I've had in a long time. The pain is lessening. We went there, and the physical therapist loves what he does. He says, we're going to get her going. All we need her to do is cooperate. And so that's the story I'm telling you. Why? Because when they told me no, I said, we're going to do this. We're going to figure it out. I just didn't take them at their word. I said no, because this was somebody that means more to me. And sometimes we'll do things for others that we won't do for ourselves. We'll take rejection. We'll take somebody turning us down, but we will keep on going. I wasn't going to say no because God didn't say no. I kept on going. And guys, we got to do that in our everyday lives. And even though I was going and dealing with her, I came home and especially said, call one more person about the pink rush. Call another person about the events that are going on. Help them get Melissa's. I didn't care what life was giving me. I was going to live life anyway because God is always there beside you. I have no qualms. If that's not your higher power, that's fine with me. But I know who mine is. I know who gets me through. I know who, when I feel like I'm beat down and there's no way out, that I can always look to the stars from whence cometh my help. And the help comes from the Lord. And I'm never going to give up. And so I tell you guys, don't play small. Remember that great expectations create great capabilities. If you limit your goals to what you know you can achieve, see, I didn't know that I could move mountains and turn things around and get a space where they said there wasn't a space. Me, Phyllis, maybe not. But the Lord can do all things. So I didn't limit him. And I'm telling you, you are setting the bar way too low if you can't see behind what only you can do. So tell your story to people. Your story happens every day. This is my story. It's going to touch somebody. It's going to make somebody move to the next level. It's going to get people out of their comfort zone. When people are telling you no, I'm saying yes, yes, yes. With that being said, guys, go out and have a phenomenal Wakanda kind of day and push. I know.